and welcome to these review vlogs for the 2019 War of the Worlds miniseries, written by Peter Harness, who Doctor Who fans will most notably know him for writing Series 8, Episode 7, Kill the Moon, Series 9, Episodes 7 and 8, The Zygon Invasion and The Zygon Inversion, the latter co-written with Stephen Moffat, and Series 10, Episode 7. He does a lot of Episode 7s, doesn't he? The Pyramid at the End of the World, which was not co-written by Stephen Moffat, although, actually, yes, it was. It was Live the Land that out of that Trick the Monk trilogy was the only one not co-written by Stephen Moffat, and I think he might have suffered a little bit by that. But yeah, P.S. Kill the Moon's not very good, the Zygon two-parter is very good, and so is Pyramid. I actually really like the Pyramid. So how does Peter Harness tackle the War of the Worlds? Well, he's written a series going back to the original time when the book was set, or more or less around that time, based on the book by H.G. Wells, and the characters more aligned to what they were like there. But that being said, I think he does quite a lot of differences with this series. I mean, I like the start where we see Martian landscape, but when we get down to Earth, after our main characters, George and Amy, played by Rafe Spall and Eleanor Tomlinson, respectively, meeting up with Ogilvy, played by the brilliant Robert Carlyle, who I think he must have been, when filming this series, he must have made his appearance for the film Yesterday. He must have filmed that scene when filming this, because he's supposed to be John Lennon in that. So he's done the Liverpoolian accent. Here he sounds like a Scottish, I think he does sound Scottish here, but it does remind me a lot of what he did in Yesterday, even if the accents are different. He is a Scottish actor after all, but he just reminds me a lot of what he did in Yesterday. I guess he was brought in for that film because he was friends with Danny Boyle, as he was in Danny Boyle's Trainspotting films. Anyway, so we got these guys, and then after this scene where they're all together looking at Mars, watching the explosions, things kind of go a bit downhill as we see the personal lives. Now, in the book, I don't think these guys were particularly well-crafted, well-rounded characters. I don't even think they got names. I read a graphic novel version of this at school a few years ago. I think I might have mentioned this when I was talking about about Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, it was with the Dracula trailer reaction recently on this channel. And I was talking about how, I don't know if I read that graphic novel, but I definitely know the story. But I've read The Hound of the Baskervilles one, and I've read War of the Worlds one, and we did War of the Worlds a bit in school, so we did take a look a little bit at the book, as well as the two films from 1953 and 2005. And here, whilst the story is basically more aligned with the husband and wife from the book, which the guy is definitely called George in the graphic novel, and also Nicholas Briggs did tweet about how George and Amy were the names he gave to the characters in the Big Finish adaptation. I think there's a Big Finish adaptation, or at least one by Nick Briggs. I think we may as well just say George is the standard name for this character, I suppose, and you could say Amy is the standard name for the for the wife. Just say they're the names they've been unofficially given. But what we get here with their characters is a bit confusing. Apparently, George and Amy are married, although it's not made completely clear in episode 1. And they've done it whilst George was still married to his cousin, which is, I suppose, a way that they got the cousin character into this series, I suppose. And I mean, a girl cousin in this as opposed to a guy cousin. I'm not actually sure if it was a guy or a girl cousin to begin with anyway, but anyway. But yeah, George was apparently married to his cousin, and then he married Amy whilst married to the cousin, but they didn't really like each other anyway. And this caused a big scandal. To be honest, when I was watching this, I was actually getting a bit pissed off that everyone was hating on George and Amy because they were in love or something. Whilst he was, but he had to not break up the marriage with his ex, because his ex doesn't want him. divorce them, even though they can't stand each other. So I don't know why she doesn't want to divorce him. You'd think she'd want to divorce him after his so-called betrayal. Thing is, episode 1 doesn't actually make it clear whether they're married or not. It's more in episodes 2 and 3 that that's supposed apparently they are married. Also, they didn't really like him. George and the cousin didn't really like each other. So of course he's going to go off with another girl that he actually does love. They should have divorced, really. And now when he does try to get the to an actual divorce with her later on in the story, she refuses and says that he's selfish. I'm sorry. You two you didn't really love each other, guys. You didn't really love each other. So when he goes off with someone he does love, real care, and you don't want him to leave, despite you two not really loving each other. No. I think the cousin is selfish. She does not want to get a divorce, but she knows that they don't love each other, and she knows he loves this other girl, but she doesn't want to have a divorce. Also, were women allowed to divorce men back at the time, or allowed to refuse divorce? Because 1905 or 1905, would they have had a say in it, or would it? Yeah, I'm not sure. It's quite confusing. Would she be allowed to refuse his divorce? It's a bit confusing, and everyone's now against George and Amy because George had married another woman, but the one he originally had, they didn't love each other, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem. And if she had agreed to the divorce, then there wouldn't be a problem to begin with. So actually, she claims him to be selfish, but actually she's the selfish one. And why didn't she get killed off? Why isn't she? She can only George and Amy can only be married, be together. They can only have the divorce bloody thing if she's dead. So I thought that was going to pay off. I thought there was going to be some sort of payoff later on where she either died or survived, but decided to allow the divorce anyway, or something, some sort of payoff. But nope, never happens again. Oh, God. I think I would have preferred these characters as blank slates, actually. This is just getting stupid. And on top of that, Rupert Graves' character is pissed off with them as well. He's the brother of George. It's basically that guy on the boat in the book. He's basically the guy on the boat. And now he's the guy in charge of the Navy things. And this whole other thing about Russia and Japan war and Britain getting involved because Russia accidentally attacked the ship or something, or for no reason attacked the ship or something along those lines. I'm getting bored pretty much by all of this, actually. I think the whole personal relationship things kind of took me out of the story quite a bit. I'm not getting interesting. Can we just not have them as this journalist, let's say he's the journalist, and his wife, just happy couple. Maybe there's a couple of personal things going on in their lives, but at the end of the day, there's not really anything major, no scandal, no ex-wife or ex-girlfriend kind of being pissy, no annoyed big brother, maybe interrupting his day, but nothing about this. Just something a bit, you don't have to be blank slate. I know you're trying to give them character and backstory, but something a bit less annoying would have been nice. I mean, just make them nice. Maybe just make them nice characters. That was enough to make it was nice to watch them because they were nice people and they had some good character traits. But I don't think they needed the scandal behind all of it. I don't think they needed this weird scandal thing. And maybe the interest in that wouldn't have been enough. The interest in astrology or whatever. But oh God, but I don't know. But either you're going to get something right or you're not going to get anything right. And I think they kind of got a 50-50 here. And I think what works is good, and what doesn't work is just pissy. It pisses me off a little bit, and I'm getting bored and wondering when are the aliens coming, and then the aliens come, and it's still it's good to take its time to reveal the aliens, but still takes its time. And I don't know why they decide to do this, but they have the ships crash into the crater, but what we get is a kind of a round rock thing instead of a cylinder, as in the book, and it goes into the air, fizzes about, and just shoots people randomly. Well, okay, shot people randomly in the book, but there was a laser beam coming from it. It was a death ray coming from something from the cylinder. It just shot at people randomly. But here, people just catch on fire randomly for some reason, just as the ship's spinning and buzzing and stuff. It's weird. Why couldn't we have had the cylinder? Why couldn't we have the death ray instead of this ball happening and just people catching fire? We got the death ray on the tripods, which I'll get to in a moment, but it's just weird how we see it here. As for the tripods, look okay, I guess. At least the death ray is better equipped here than it is on when the ships crash land first, and they tear up the village near Weybridge, also common. Yeah, and Amy has to go to see Frederick, the brother, and at the end of that, she's revealed she's pregnant with George's child. Oh, great, even more personal things to worry about. And throughout the story, we've seen people, apparently appears to be people on a red, deserted planet. I honestly thought that was Mars to begin with, people on Mars, and then it turns out to be Amy and her son, who's later revealed to be named after his father, just going around the place. And it's revealed that after the events of the series, the planet just it never recovers. This is the only time we see a kind of a dystopian future following this war, and I don't know how to feel about that. I honestly think you could have removed this and half of the scandal stuff, and this miniseries could have worked at 2 episodes instead of 3, or maybe 5 half-an-hour episodes. But yeah, this one, yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure how to feel about the post-apocalyptic future stories. So on the whole, War of the Worlds episode 1, I don't really like it. I think the series gets better later on, but I don't really like episode 1. More so because of the stupid scandal stuff. I mean, yeah, give them character development, give them personality, instead of just a blank slate. But I didn't like where they went with it. That's all. And the alien stuff kind of was a bit of a muddle. Just building it up. Some of it was interesting, some of it was boring. And when we did get to the alien stuff, which I was wanting them to get to, some of that wasn't really handled very well. Some creative decisions that just were a bit strange. And I think they should have just stuck as close to the book as they should have done, instead of trying to do something a bit different. Apart from making Amy a more prominent character, I think that was probably their best change, was making Amy a more prominent character in the series. And whilst I'm not so hot on the dystopian future bits, I think that is where she gets a bit more time to shine. So, she definitely shines quite a bit in the actual war bits. But yeah, I think that's the best change, having the wife more prominent in the story. That's really cool, and having some half the story take place from her point of view. But besides that, I think they should have stuck a bit more closer to the original book, both script-wise and with the visual effects and execution. Episodes 2 and 3 are, despite changing even more, being a bit more different, I think they are a bit better. And I also say the 2 films are also better than this. So yeah, say what you like about the Steven Spielberg film, but I prefer that over this episode. I couldn't get into episode 1 that much. Yeah, so on the whole, episode 1, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. And also, what the hell are these titles? I don't know what these titles are. So that's it from my War of the Worlds review, episode 1 review. Next time I'll do episode 2, which is a much better episode. But see you guys then. Goodbye.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Nicholas Payne Retro YouTube channel.
And basically, so basically, what's that? Wait, maybe not as good as the second episode. Maybe as the series overall is better, but definitely the episode one is definitely episode. Maybe the series overall is probably the best adaptation. Maybe that's of the 53 film, visual adaptation. But excluding graphic novel.